Every morning, a quiet little girl sat alone at table 7, her eyes heavy with secrets. The waitress, Lily, always made sure her pancakes had a smile. It was routine, until one morning the door swung open and a powerful man stormed in with 4 bodyguards. He wasn't just her father, he was hiding something far darker. Welcome to Snap Stories, let's get started. Lily had worked the morning shift at Maple and Oak Cafe for the past 6 years. At 36, with tired eyes and a constant coffee stain on her apron, she wasn't just a waitress, she was a lifeline for many who wandered in seeking warmth and comfort. By night, she juggled a second job cleaning offices, all to support her younger brother's college education. He was her one bright spot in a life that had been dimmed long ago by tragedy. Years earlier, Lily had lost her younger sister in a car accident, a memory that haunted her more quietly than grief usually allowed. Since then, she developed a soft spot for children who seemed out of place, overlooked, or simply lost. So when Ava first walked into the cafe alone one rainy Tuesday morning, Lily noticed. Ava was 10, maybe 11, but carried herself like someone twice her age. Every day she came in wearing the same navy blue coat, buttoned to the top even in the summer. She never spoke, never looked anyone in the eye, and always sat in the same booth by the window. When Lily brought her order, a simple stack of pancakes and a glass of orange juice, Ava would nod politely and quietly pull out her sketchpad. They never exchanged words, but somehow a connection formed in the quiet. What stood out most were the notes. Folded neatly beneath the tip each morning, Ava left handwritten messages in elegant, precise cursive, words like, "Thank you," "You're kind," or "This helped." The tips were always far too generous for a child her age. It was clear someone was watching over her, someone with money, but it only deepened the mystery. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that Ava was living in a cage too invisible for others to notice. Her fear wasn't loud or dramatic, it was quiet, restrained, buried beneath stillness. And Lily, ever the protector, started going out of her way to make sure Ava felt safe during her brief stay at the cafe. To others, it was just another customer. To Lily, it was like seeing her little sister all over again, alone in a world that didn't notice. And she wasn't going to let that happen twice. It was just another slow Tuesday morning at Maple and Oak Cafe. Lily was behind the counter, refilling a regular's coffee, when the door burst open with the force of a storm. A towering man in an expensive suit strode in, flanked by 4 sharply dressed bodyguards with earpieces and scanning eyes. The air shifted instantly, mugs paused midair, chairs scraped to a stop, and all conversation died. The man's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Who's been talking to Ava?" Lily's heart skipped. At her usual booth, Ava froze, eyes wide, clutching her sketchpad like a shield. The girl didn't move or speak, but her fear screamed louder than words ever could. The bodyguards fanned out, inspecting every corner of the cafe like a crime scene. Customers shrank back into their seats, eyes darting toward the exit. Lily, though, didn't move. Her instincts kicked in. She stepped between Ava's booth and the approaching man. "I don't know who you are," Lily said, voice steady despite her racing pulse. "But she's just a kid trying to eat breakfast." "Calm down." The man's eyes narrowed. "She's my daughter." That changed everything, and nothing. "I don't care who you are. You're scaring her," Lily snapped. One of the guards whispered something into the man's ear. His expression darkened. "We've received credible threats. A kidnapping attempt. Someone's been contacting her. We traced it to this location." He looked Lily up and down, suspicion radiating from every line on his face. You've been speaking to her?" "She's a 10-year-old girl who draws pictures and eats pancakes," Lily replied. "If that's threatening to you, maybe you're the one who needs help." His stare turned colder, but Lily stood her ground. She couldn't explain it, just a gut feeling, the same one she had the day Ava first walked in. This wasn't just about safety or bodyguards or threats. It was about a girl who hadn't smiled once in weeks. "Maybe instead of barking orders and waving threats," Lily said, her voice soft but pointed, "you should ask yourself why your daughter looks so sad." The room held its breath. Ava didn't move. But for the first time, her eyes flicked toward Lily, not with fear but something close to relief. Something had just shifted. And nothing would be the same after this. Following the tense confrontation, Ava's father, reluctant but calculating, agrees to let Ava keep visiting the cafe, but only under strict conditions. 2 bodyguards now accompany her, sitting at a nearby table, never taking their eyes off her or anyone else. The warmth of the cafe feels colder now, watched and measured. Still, Lily refuses to treat Ava any differently. The silent ritual continues. Pancakes. Sketchpad. Notes. But over the next few weeks, small changes appear. Ava starts arriving with different drawings, little scenes of the cafe, Lily pouring coffee, a bird at the window. One day she leaves a note that simply says, "I feel safe here." Lily begins responding quietly. Little smiley faces drawn in syrup. A wink when she brings the pancakes. A joke muttered just loud enough for Ava to hear. Slowly, Ava begins to smile. Not always, but enough. Then Lily starts noticing things. How Ava flinches when her father's name is mentioned, how the bodyguards speak in code even around a child, how Ava's code is always the same, though her father could clearly afford the best of everything. Ava's answers to basic questions feel rehearsed, controlled. The emotional neglect becomes clearer with each visit. Ava seems monitored even outside the cafe. She doesn't carry a phone. Her schedule is rigid. She never laughs loudly or acts spontaneously. Lily's concern deepens. Then one evening just after closing, the cafe is swarmed by law enforcement. A failed kidnapping attempt earlier that day targeted Ava during her ride home. Though she wasn't taken, the threat was real and deadly. Cameras are installed in the cafe. Lily is taken in for questioning, her name flagged for proximity and frequent contact. She sits under harsh lighting for hours, explaining the simple truth. She eats pancakes. I treat her kindly. That's all. She's released but warned, stay out of anything deeper. Soon after, a stranger slips into the cafe during a quiet hour and hands Lily a sealed envelope. Inside is a letter written in the same perfect handwriting as Ava's notes, only older. It's signed by a woman claiming to be Ava's mother. The woman was never dead as Ava's father had claimed. She had escaped the marriage years ago, after discovering the father's manipulation and dangerous ties to offshore accounts, illegal surveillance and coercive control. But she'd left Ava behind, believing the only way to fight for her daughter was from the outside. Now she wanted to reconnect. The letter included a method, a secret signal Ava would recognize, a way to let her know her mother was alive and fighting for her. But to deliver it, Lily would need to take an enormous risk. At first she hesitated. She had her brother's tuition payments, 2 jobs, and now eyes watching her every move. But then she saw Ava draw a picture of a bird flying from a cage. Lily agreed. Over the next few weeks, subtle communication began. Messages hidden in napkin folds, coded symbols and syrup designs, soft-spoken clues shared under the guise of jokes. Ava understood. Her eyes lit up. Her posture changed. She began to ask tiny questions, whisper things like, "Is it real?" Or, "Does she miss me?" Lily became the bridge. Every night after closing, she'd write updates to Ava's mother and pass them through a hidden channel, an old bakery delivery driver who'd once worked for the mother's family. In return, the mother sent notes, photos, and once even a hand-drawn picture of her and Ava together, tucked inside the flap of a pancake box. But the risks escalated quickly. Surveillance footage from the cafe showed Lily slipping papers into Ava's art book. The bodyguards grew more suspicious. Her manager warned her to stop getting involved. Rumors spread that the CEO, Ava's father, was planning to remove Ava from public entirely, locking her in private tutoring, ending her cafe visits for good. Lily faced a choice: walk away and keep her job, her safety, and her brother's future secure, or take a final risk to free a little girl from the gilded cage she'd been trapped in for years. She chose Ava. The emotional weight grew heavier each day. Her shifts became tense, knowing every word could be watched. Her brother, unaware of what was happening, asked why her hands were shaking. Lily couldn't tell him, couldn't risk it. But in her heart, Lily knew one thing for sure. She had once lost a sister she couldn't protect. She wasn't going to lose another. It's the busiest Saturday morning the cafe has seen in weeks. Customers packed wall to wall, the scent of cinnamon rolls and espresso in the air. Ava is in her usual corner booth, bodyguards in place, though Lily senses something different today. One of the guards is new, too alert, too quiet. Ava keeps glancing nervously at him. The breakfast rush hums on. Then it happens. A sudden shout. A chair topples. The new bodyguard grabs Ava roughly by the arm, dragging her toward the side exit. Customers scream. Coffee spills. The other guard reaches for his gun, hesitates. Lily doesn't. She leaps over the counter, heart racing. In one motion, she grabs Ava's wrist and yanks her free, shielding her with her body as the imposter turns, reaching inside his coat. Without thinking, Lily grabs the nearest thing, a cast iron skillet, and swings. The weapon connects with a sickening thud. The man stumbles, dropping a concealed firearm that clatters across the tile floor. Customers duck behind tables. Chaos erupts, Screaming, confusion, the other guard finally drawing his weapon and pinning the imposter down. Lily, still shielding Ava, drags her into the kitchen and bolts the door. She doesn't speak, just holds the trembling girl tightly. Within minutes, police swarm the cafe. The imposter is cuffed, bloodied but alive. He's not part of the legitimate security team. Background checks reveal he was a plant, paid off by a corporate rival to kidnap Ava and use her as leverage against her father's empire. The cafe becomes a crime scene. Witnesses are questioned. Lily's actions are caught on camera. Her quick thinking, her bravery, it all spreads fast. Then the father arrives. He storms in, breathless, flanked by uniformed officers. His eyes find Lily, still sitting in the kitchen beside Ava, brushing her hair back gently as the little girl cries silently into Lily's shoulder. For a moment he says nothing. Then, slowly, his expression changes. Something unspoken passes between them. Respect, remorse, perhaps even shame. This woman, whom he once saw as a threat, stood between his daughter and real danger. She did what no security team or private guard had done. She protected Ava with nothing but instinct, a hot pan and love. Finally, the father lowers his head. "I was wrong about you," he says quietly. "You saved my daughter." And for the first time, Ava reaches for Lily's hand, not as a customer, not as a scared little girl, but as someone who knows she's no longer alone. In the days following the attempted abduction, the cafe reopens with a calm buzz of whispered stories. Lily becomes a quiet local hero, customers leave extra tips, and strangers offer heartfelt thanks. But Lily keeps her head down, focused on her shifts and her brother's tuition, trying to process everything that happened. One morning, the CEO, Ava's father, returns not in a tailored suit, but in a plain shirt, no bodyguards trailing him. The cafe hushes as he approaches Lily at the counter. He doesn't demand. He simply offers a tired smile and thanks her publicly for saving Ava's life. With eyes that seem far less guarded than before, he admits he's made mistakes, especially in how he's raised Ava, isolating her in the name of protection. "She deserves more than bodyguards and silence," he says, his voice low with guilt. "And she deserves people like you in her life." The next day, it's announced through official channels. Ava will be allowed supervised visits with her mother, arranged discreetly and handled with care. The news sends ripples through the media, but to Lily, it means Ava will finally get a part of her childhood back. That same evening, Lily receives a call from the local police. "You're in the clear," the officer tells her. "But for your own safety, stay out of the family's affairs from now on. They have powerful enemies and you've already risked more than most ever would." Lily nods silently, heart heavy but relieved. On Lily's final morning shift before a short break, a waitress hands her a folded napkin with a small envelope. Inside is a simple hand-drawn picture, two figures sitting together in a cafe booth, holding mugs, smiling. One is unmistakably Lily. The other, with a small heart above her head, is Ava. Beneath it, in the same perfect handwriting as always, are three words. "Thank you, friend." Lily places the drawing inside her apron pocket, near her heart. And for the first time in a long while, she allows herself a deep breath, and a smile. The cafe slowly returns to its usual rhythm, coffee orders, breakfast specials, and the quiet hum of conversations. The buzz of danger and chaos fades, replaced once again by the comfort of routine. But one presence is missing. Ava never returns. The corner booth where she once sat, sketching quietly while sipping cocoa, remains empty. Lily glances at it sometimes between orders, wondering how Ava's doing. If she's happy, if she's safe, if she still draws. Then one rainy afternoon, as Lily wipes down the windows, a sleek black car pulls up across the street. Tinted windows, polished frame. Familiar. It doesn't stop, just slows for a moment. Then, through the window, a hand presses against the glass. A small wave. Lily's breath catches. Ava. Just for a second, their eyes meet. Still silent, still distant, but filled with a quiet understanding. A wordless thank you. A final goodbye. And then the car is gone. Later that evening, Lily takes the drawing from her apron, the one Ava left behind. She places it in a simple frame and hangs it on the wall behind the counter, where regulars often glance and ask about its meaning. "It's a reminder," Lily says softly one day, "that kindness, even the smallest kind, can change someone's world." And every time she looks at it, she remembers a quiet girl in a worn coat, and the morning everything changed.